So India's economy is doing well. We can't say the same for China, though. Fresh projections are out. China had set a growth target of 5% this year. There's a high chance that they'll miss that target. China's economy has been in a bad shape for years now. And Xi Jinping is finally facing some heat over it. Reports say there is a rebellion against the Chinese president. And that too from within the Communist Party. Two influential camps are angry with Xi Jinping. There was a showdown in July. It happened during the third plenum. It's one of the most important meetings of the Communist Party. We told you about it on the show. This third plenum happens every 5 years. Top leaders, senior party members and experts meet for a period of 4 days. They chart out China's economic policy. These meetings happen behind closed doors. So the outside world knows very little about what transpired here. Also, reports of dissent are extremely rare in China, which is what makes these claims quite significant. But what is it that triggered this dissent? Apparently a propaganda piece on Xi Jinping. Ahead of the plenum's opening, Xinhua published it. The headline said, Xi Jinping the Reformer. It was basically a 10,000-word ode to Xi. It hailed his economic policies and called Xi a great reformer, a leader on a par with Deng Xiaoping. Remember, Deng opened the Chinese economy to the world. It was his policies that made China an economic powerhouse. And Xinhua compared Deng to Xi Jinping. Now, none of this is out of the ordinary. What else do you expect from a mouthpiece like Xinhua? Of course, they will sing praises of the Chinese president and try to reinforce his authority ahead of an important event. But at the plenum, this propaganda piece backfired on Xi Jinping. It was strongly criticized. It was called strange and factually incorrect and not in line with the history of the party. These critics even asked who allowed this piece to be published. And who are these critics? Well, there are two groups. One group is made up of party elders, the retired members of the Communist Party. They held senior positions in the government in the past. Many of them end up serving as advisors to the party after retirement. They form the first group of critics, the elders. The second group is called the second generation Reds. These are the children of Communist Party leaders from the revolution era. Basically, the second generation of Chinese politicians. So both these groups raised concerns. And thanks to the pressure they built, this propaganda piece was withdrawn. It was not published in papers and it was scrubbed off the internet before the third plenum ended. Like I said, this is quite significant. Dissent against Xi Jinping is very rare. What's even more rare is the Chinese president yielding to his critics. Xi Jinping is called China's most powerful leader since Mao Zedong. And this summer, his critics forced his hand. Does that mean that his grip on power is weakening? We'd say that assessment would be premature, but it would be fair to say that China's economic situation is testing its president. The slowdown is creating new and unexpected challenges. I'll give you an example. There are now ghost railway stations in China. These stations are brand new with all the latest facilities, but they have no passengers. No trains stop at these stations. And China has 26 of them. They were first built and they've now been decommissioned. And they're all in remote locations with not much passenger traffic. So they weren't really needed. But China built them nonetheless. Experts are calling these projects, and I'm quoting, wasted investments. They were all part of China's infrastructure boom. When local governments borrowed billions of dollars, they pumped this money into infrastructure projects without assessing the utility of these projects. And this led to a bubble in the infra sector. That bubble has now burst, leaving behind ghost towns and stations and a massive pile of debt. Local governments in China owe $13 trillion. $13 trillion is the debt. Some of them are on the brink of a default. They're resorting to extreme measures, like in the Bishan district. This is in southwest China. Bishan is unable to keep up with its debt, so it has set up a task force. And what will its officials do? Well, they say they specialize in smashing iron pots and selling the steel. This is basically a Chinese metaphor. Smashing iron pots and selling the steel. It means selling off all assets to settle debt. So Bishan is basically doing a fire sale. We don't know its debt numbers, but clearly the situation is far from ideal, or a fire sale wouldn't have been necessary. China needs to tackle its debt urgently and rescue its economy. Its people are already running out of patience. They have begun protesting. In the months of June and July, there were more than 500 protests in China, mostly over economic issues. The protesters were workers or property owners and buyers. They took to the streets. They raised their voice online. The workers they were protesting over wages. They wanted better wages. Homeowners wanted stalled projects to resume, to get the homes that they had bought. So the writing is on the wall for Xi Jinping. There is dissent within the Communist Party and anger among ordinary Chinese citizens.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Let's start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.